About another story that we need to focus on as well. Shares of Hawaiian Electric are tumbling. This after concern that it was its power lines that caused the deadly Maui wildfires. Joining us now is Mark Chediak. Mark, talk me through the case against potentially Hawaiian. Why are we concerned about this? Now, obviously, we've seen this in California. We've seen this risk elsewhere, that when the environment potentially creates an environment that could create a tinderbox, electricity is being sort of turned off elsewhere. Was that the case here?
So I think it's very important to point out right at the top here that there has been no official determination of what the cause of the fires are here. That investigation has just started. It will probably take weeks, if not months. That being said, over the weekend, our reporting revealed that a number of victims' attorneys are on the ground in Maui investigating power lines as the potential source of these devastating fires. In addition, we've heard a utility regulator, former utility regulator in Hawaii, criticizing the company for not turning off the power ahead of these high winds that were predicted that really fanned these flames and knocked down a lot of power lines right around the time of the blazes.
Hey, Mark, I hear you that we don't know why and all that, and we're just in the investigating phase. I get that. I feel like a good template, though, may be PG&E in California as a template. Can you walk me through sort of how that unfolded and what we might learn from that experience?
Yeah, that's a great question and a great point. So with PG&E, which is California's largest utility, they were actually driven into bankruptcy in 2019 because their equipment was found to start probably some of the worst wildfires in California's history. What happened there was there was basically two main fires that were started during these giant windstorms, and although it took a while for the initial investigation to play out, it became pretty clear from reports on the ground that power lines were involved, and that ended up plunging PG&E stock. And that's kind of similar to what we're seeing here with sort of allegations of power lines being the cause of these fires. It's caused a 40% drop in Hawaiian Electric's stock price, which is really just an incredible drop for a utility. I mean, they normally move like within 4 or 5% at most. So the concern among investors here is that the utility could be liable for these fires. And investors are selling first and asking questions later.
If these kinds of scenes continue, if we see the ongoing issues and the droughts and the lack of rainfall that we're seeing, how long term do these utilities manage that risk? What remedial action can be taken other than shutting down the grid, which seems like quite an extreme reaction?
Yes, and it is an extreme reaction. And so what we're seeing in California is an effort to do things like bury power lines in high-risk fire areas. There's been aggressive vegetation management, trimming trees around lines. There's a setup of, in California, they've set up a very extensive weather monitoring system, so the utilities have a very good clue on when fire conditions arise, where the highest risks are, so they can either protect those lines or shut them off in a very isolated way to limit the impact to customers. Other grid hardening efforts of covering power lines with covered conductor that's proven to be effective, but it really is a long-term investment, and it is something that especially utilities in the West are going to have to face.